A warm welcome to Luntha Television News, broadcasting live from the Bishop Navy Media Center here in Lilongwe. I'm Kathy Matura. In our top story tonight, Pope Leo XIV has called on Catholic religious communities in the United States to remain united in their vocation and steadfast in witnessing to Christ. As the Conference of Major Superiors of Men marks its 7th anniversary, we also bring you the latest developments from Malawi across Africa and around the world, including stories on health, governance, agriculture, youth, and sustainable development. Stay with us. Pope Leo XIV encourages religious communities to strengthen unity and witness. Government legislators agree to review political parties' act regulations before amending law. Government says safely managed water access remains low, with rural areas at 4.4% against 33% in urban areas. In international news, Africa urged to increase health funding amid rising disease threats. We give you the news in detail. Pope Leo XIV has urged Catholic religious communities in the United States to continue living in unity and faithfully witnessing to Christ as the Conference of Major Superiors of Men CMSM marks its 70th anniversary. In a message read by Apostolic Nuncio to the United States Archbishop Gabriel Kacher during the CMSM National Assembly in Phoenix, Arizona, the Pope thanked God for the blessings the organization has received over the past 7 decades. We have a Vatican News report read by Patrick Popper.
Pope Leo praised the conference for promoting collaboration among the male religious institutes and for strengthening the public witness of consecrated men committed to serving the gospel. Reflecting on the Assembly's theme, One in Christ, Communion Life Today, Pope Leo described the community life as a path to holiness and a source of strength, inspiration, and the effective ministry. He said that by sharing their lives, faith, resources, and mission, religious communities make the presence of the risen Christ visible. The Holy Father encouraged participants to use the gathering as an opportunity for prayer, dialogue, and discernment to deepen fraternity within and among their religious institutes, enabling them to continue offering a united, joyful, and authentic witness to Christ in the communities they serve. He concluded by assuring the participants of his prayers, entrusting the assembly to the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of the Church, and imparting his apostolic blessing on all those attending the religious congregations they represent.
The Catholic Church has assured young people across Malawi in the Association of Member Episcopal Conferences in Eastern Africa, AMECIA, that their concerns and recommendations presented during the 21st AMECIA Plenary Assembly have been heard and will be given serious consideration. Speaking during a press briefing in Nairobi, Kenya, Bishop Alfred Chaima, who chairs the Pastoral Commission of the Malawi Conference of Catholic Bishops, MCCB, said the bishops were encouraged by the active participation of young people throughout the assembly. He stressed that the church remains committed to accompanying and empowering youth as they contribute to its mission. Here's Emmanuel Chiwocha with the report.
Bishop Chaima said the youth discussion focused on key issues affecting both the church and the society, including digital evangelization, mental health, youth inclusion in decision-making within the church, and good governance. The bishop assured the young people that the bishops had carefully listened to their contributions and would reflect on the recommendation as they continue to designing pastoral priorities for the region.
For the Amesia Church, we have chosen to leave this synod by beginning the process of inclusion by taking a sector of the membership of the church who are the youth. So it was a moment for the church in this region to listen to the youth speak and make its contribution, and therefore when the church is making its plans in its mission to evangelize this in this region, then the youth from now onwards will not be left out or are not left out, because it was a moment where the church leadership has listened to the youth speak, to speak to them so that they could in their programs from now onwards be included. So this is what is also making.
The 21st Amesia Preliminary Assembly opened on 19th July 2026 and concludes on 26th July 2026 in Nairobi, Kenya, under the theme, Building Bridges of Communion, Hope, Justice, and Good Governance. For Luntha News in Kenya, this is Emmanuel Chiwocha.
In news from the August House, Government Chief Whip Patricia Whiskers said government is not against reviewing the Political Parties Act, but wants regulations under the new law to be revised first before any amendments are made to the Act. Whiskers made the remarks while responding to a motion moved by the Member of Parliament for Lilongwe Chiwamba, which sought to amend some provisions of the Political Parties Act 2018, particularly Section 41. Gift Kalonga has filed this report.
Whiskers said the government acknowledges concerns raised by members of parliament regarding the implementation of Section 41 of the Political Parties Act, especially issues surrounding the prohibition of handouts. She, however, said the government believes the immediate focus should be on reviewing the regulations under the Act, which provide a better platform for addressing practical challenges. Whiskers said amending an Act of Parliament should be considered only after other legal mechanisms have been explored and found ineffective. She emphasized that the government's position is not meant to reject the concerns raised by the lawmakers, but rather to ensure that the proper legislative process is followed when addressing challenges in the law.
As government, we fully acknowledge and respect that every law that is passed in this House, we also need to assess its practicability on the ground. If members feel that this law is prohibiting them, it's limiting them on the ground, then it is only necessary that this House should reconsider that law. However, there are several legal tools that Parliament can use to revisit these laws. Revising the actual law itself, amending actual law itself should be the last resort. But otherwise, as it stands, considering that the regulations for this particular law were not presented in this House, we feel it is better that those regulations should come to Parliament first and that members should have an opportunity to review them.
Former chairperson of the Parliamentary Legal Affairs Committee, Peter Dimba, said Section 41 of the Political Parties Act faces implementation challenges due to unclear regulations. He called for the regulations to be reviewed and approved by Parliament before enforcing the law.
Section 41, it was also as controversial as it is today. And at that particular time, we really thought that the promulgation of subsidiary legislation or regulations would actually provide finer details of this section, Section 41, that prohibits handouts. But I think when the regulations were promulgated in 2023, they were not presented in Parliament. And that is where the problem is, because this law in its raw form cannot really be enforced. It's quite cumbersome to be enforced. It's quite chaotic, and that's why in the recent general elections it caused so much confusion. And so what we've agreed outside the chamber with the government side is that we need to do the regulations. We need to redo the regulations because, of course, as they are today, they cannot be enforced.
Meanwhile, Speaker of the Parliament, Samia Suleiman, has directed the Parliamentary Legal Affairs Committee to review the Political Parties Act 2018 within 2 weeks, citing unclear provisions on the issues of handouts. Section 41 of the Political Parties Act 2018 prohibits candidates, political parties, and individuals from giving or encouraging handouts during elections. Those found guilty face a fine of 10 million kwacha, imprisonment of up to 5 years, or both. The section allows the minister to make regulations to guide its implementation. However, campaign materials, support for political party activities, and unpublicized religious offerings are not considered as handouts under the law. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Gift Kalonga.
Government says it has identified a temporary site and is working towards a permanent resettlement solution for families from Katabe who recently traveled to Lilongwe following a long-standing land dispute. Minister of Lands Chimwemwe Chipungu made the remarks in an interview after engaging representatives of the affected families, saying government is committed to finding a lasting solution to the matter. Here is Judith Organ with a report.
Chipungu described the situation as unfortunate, saying the government has already identified a permanent site at Luntha where the families will be accommodated while long-term arrangements are being finalized. He said the Department of Disaster Management Affairs will provide essential humanitarian support, including food, water and tents, while government carries out assessments to facilitate permanent resettlement either in Monkey Bay or in Nzimba.
We have spoken to the leaders of their group. We have found a place for them to settle for now and maybe a few days. It's near Sempere in Kasunku. The name of the place is called Luviri or Luviri. We have been in touch with the Department of Disaster Management, DODMA, whereby some food items, water, tents will be provided for our brothers and sisters for a few days. But as a permanent solution, as a ministry, we are looking for their permanent settlement. It might be in Nzimba or Nkatabe, depending on the assessments that will be made.
Meanwhile, Chipungu said government expects all resettlement arrangements to be completed within 1 week. He also cautioned the public against encroaching on land without authorization, urging those seeking land to follow the proper application procedure through the Ministry of Lands. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Oga.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development says access to safely managed water remains critically low in the country, with only 4.4% of people in rural areas having access compared to 33% in urban areas. The ministry's principal secretary responsible for water supply and development, Faide Smale, made the remarks on Thursday in Lilongwe during the National Wash Systems Strengthening Reflection Workshop, marking the closure of the FCDO-supported Wash for Health program. More details in this report filed by Cherit Chilanga.
In her remarks, Semale said the ministry is intensifying efforts to address disparities in access to safely managed water by directing future investments to underserved rural communities through improved planning and monitoring. She also said the Wash for Health program has contributed to improved functionality of rural water points through a professionalized management model, increasing functionality from about 60% to around 90% in the districts where it was implemented.
The Wash for Health program was to come out with what we call a professionalized model of management, where we had to train people who would take over the operation and maintenance instead of the communities this was done by professionals, okay, and communities had to pay to contribute something. And so in terms of impact, we have seen a huge jump in terms of functionality of our water points from 60 to around 90% and over in some circumstances. So that's a huge plus for us as a ministry.
Water for People Country Director Olem Jiluzi said the Wash for Health program was designed to promote professional management of rural water systems and sustainable sanitation services to ensure long-term access to safe water. Jiluzi said although the program was expected to run until 2027, it will end on July 31st, 2026, following the UK government's decision through FCDO to discontinue funding, adding that stakeholders will continue engaging development partners to sustain the program's gains.
In terms of safe water, we are really on track in meeting our SGD as a country. We are lagging behind in terms of sanitation, but a number of things have been done, and we are positive because we are looking at the SGD 6. So we hope that with other partners, developing partners, will be there if we continue to increase our investment in WASH.
The FCDO supported Wash for Health program was implemented in Dowa, Lilongwe and Shikwawa districts.
This is Luntha TV News. We'll be back after this short break.
Your school fees kwa kupiga tobano. Listen to fees by Airtel Money. Muta your school fees mosa voda kudzera bafoni yanu. Tsadirani ndondomeko zotsatirazi. Choyamba imbani *211#. Pamenyo yomwe mutapatsidwe sankhani 8 kuti mulipire fees. Pitirizani posankha 1 yomwe ndi sente fees. Kenako mudzafunsidwa kuti mulowetse admissions number. Kuchoka apo mudzaona skulu yomwe mukufuna kulipira komanso dzina la ophunzira. Onetsetsani kuti zonse ndizolondola. Pitirirani ndi kuyika ndalama zomwe mukufuna kulipira. Lembani pini yanu ya Airtel Money kuti muvomereze kulipira. Ndipo nthawi yomweyo mudzalandira SMS yotsimikiza kuti zatheka.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, you are tuned on to Luntha TV News. Here is a recap of the top stories before we go ahead. Pope Leo XIV encourages religious communities to strengthen unity and witness. Government legislators agree to review political parties' act regulations before amending law. Government says safely managed water access remains low, with rural areas at 4.4% against 33% in urban areas. In international news, Africa urged to increase health funding amid rising disease threats. Moving on, the Malawi Police Service says strengthened traffic law enforcement, intensified patrols and public awareness campaigns have contributed to a decline in road traffic accidents during the first 6 months of 2026, while warning that pedestrians and men continue to be the most affected road users. Speaking in an interview with Luntha TV, National Deputy Public Relations Officer Alfred Chimtere said the country recorded 1,784 road traffic accidents between January and June this year, down from 1,894 cases during the same period in 2025. Clara Kamzati reports.
Intel said the reduction follows closer collaboration between the police and key stakeholders, alongside sustained road safety awareness campaigns and increased traffic patrols across the country. He also expressed concern that pedestrians remain the most vulnerable road users, while men account for 77% of road traffic casualties and 84% of fatalities.
The pedestrians are the most vulnerable road users, and in terms of casualties, men are most affected, accounting to 78% of all casualties and 84% of fatalities. As police, we are urging all road users to continue observing traffic laws and exercising caution on the roads. We are geared to continuing with the intensifying of traffic law enforcement and collaborating with stakeholders to further improve safety.
Meanwhile, the Malawi Coalition of Cabas Association, MACOSA, says it is expanding the road safety awareness campaigns to accident hotspot and training district leaders to improve compliance with traffic regulations among motorcycles.
MACOSA will continue working hand in hand with the city councils, district councils, as well as the DLSS and also police. And through these collaborations, we believe that we are going to achieve by minimizing the accident to at least half, not what the police has said that we have reduced with 13%. So we want to reduce it further so that we can live with minimal accidents.
The Malawi police has recorded 13% drop in road accidents in the first half of 2026.
Agriculture expert Leonard Chimwaza has said the Tobacco Commission's newly launched Know Your Grower KYG project could restore order in Malawi tobacco industry by helping identify genuine growers, improve tobacco traceability, and prevent a repeat of this year's overproduction challenges. Speaking in an interview with Luntha TV, Chimwaza said the project comes at the right time, saying the lack of an effective grower tracking system contributed to the challenges experienced during this year's tobacco marketing season. Constance Kamtemeni filed this report.
Chimwaza said the KYG project will help ensure that only genuine tobacco growers are licensed and allowed to sell their crop, a move he believes will improve the quality of tobacco reaching the auction floors while restoring confidence in the country's tobacco industry. He also urged all tobacco growers to register for the exercise, saying those who fail to do so risk missing the opportunity to sell their tobacco next season because the Tobacco Commission remains the industry regulator.
Only those that are going to be licensed are the ones that are going to see the light of the day during the marketing period of tobacco, because we just need sanity in the tobacco industry. This year we have struggled to deal with the overproduction.
Meanwhile, the Tobacco Commission spokesperson Telepholas Chigwenembe said the KYG project will strengthen Malawi's tobacco grower database, making it easier to trace tobacco from the farm to the market, while helping the country meet the standards required by international buyers.
We will implement the KYG project in 2 phases. The first phase is where growers will come to our offices in Lilongwe, Limbe, Kasungu, or Mzuzu to give us information about themselves. In this phase, we'll be asking the farmers to give us their details, such as their location, the location of their fields, landholding sites, details about their households, tree population, and other information. We would like to encourage all growers to take this exercise very seriously because it is what will make them eligible to sell their tobacco next marketing season.
The free KYG registration exercise will begin on 27 July alongside grower licensing, with all club members and estate owners required to register in person before they can be licensed for the 2026-2027 growing season. The Commission says growers who fail to register will not be eligible to sell their tobacco during the next marketing season.
Habitat for Humanity Malawi HFHM has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Luana, marking the beginning of a strategic partnership aimed at addressing Malawi's development challenges through research, innovation, and evidence-based solutions. The collaboration will focus on integrating water, sanitation, and hygiene wash, climate-smart agriculture and food security while developing innovative climate-responsive solutions that build resilience in vulnerable communities. Tandum Zumara has filed this report.
According to Jaboda, the agreement provides binding technical, financial, and administrative tenets of the project called Scaling Malawi's Capacity in Wash, Climate Smart Agriculture, and Grant Management to Lesotho and Tanzania to be implemented from 1st July to the 31st of December 2026. He added that the collaboration aims to foster sustainable and climate-resilient housing, with Malawi serving as a learning ground for the continent.
We do realize that decent homes ought to operate in an ecosystem where we need to look at issues of water and sanitation, issues of energy access, issues of climate smart agriculture, and others. Therefore, we have come into this partnership to ensure that Luana helps us to research, gather evidence that we can generate in understanding the nexus between housing and other facets of sustainable livelihoods.
For his part, Luana Vice-Chancellor Professor Emmanuel Kaunda said the institution is ready to champion the project through evidence-based research to find solutions to challenges affecting community dwellers on shelter and food security.
This is very good for the country and also good for a program which humanities for mankind, which has brought to Malawi, in that they're bringing a wholesome solution to a community, and this is a unique program.
The partnership is expected to strengthen livelihoods, enhance climate resilience, and contribute to lasting development outcomes in line with HFH Malawi's 2025 to 2030 strategic plan. For Luntha News, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
In regional news, African governments have been urged to increase investment in health systems amid threats towards the continent's progress in the fight against major diseases. Speaking at the African Union Extraordinary Health Summit in Accra on Wednesday, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said reductions in international aid and inadequate domestic funding are undermining efforts to combat HIV, malaria, and tuberculosis. We have an African News report read by Patrick Pupa.
Tedros called on African governments to prioritize stronger health systems through greater political commitment and increased local financing, saying only African leaders can provide the investment needed to safeguard public health. The summit comes as the Democratic Republic of Congo faces one of its worst Ebola outbreaks in recent history. The outbreak, first detected in May after spreading unnoticed for several weeks, is being driven by Bundibugyo virus, which currently has no approved vaccine or treatment. UNAIDS Executive Director Win Baima also warned that inequality and pandemics fuel one another, making countries more vulnerable to future health emergencies. She stressed that tackling inequality is essential to preventing future disease outbreaks. The two-day summit is focused on improving Africa's health security by strengthening political leadership, expanding strategic partnerships, and promoting local production.
Up next is the weather report with Noel Banda.
Good evening, and it's time for the weather forecast. It was generally locally very cold this morning, where temperatures dropped to around 9 degrees over Nyika, Chitedze and Vumbo and Cholo. Malingo Lilongwe recorded 10 degrees, but a little bit cold over Dedza and Kamshanshan Airport with 12 degrees. We should expect good cold weather conditions to persist tonight and during morning hours, coupled with sunny and hazy conditions late into the afternoon hours with occasional windy conditions over some places. This is so because we are still getting low moisture over the country due to a high pressure area sitting over land expected to suppress cloud development over most areas. So tonight, cold weather conditions to persist, few clouds here and there for some parts of central areas, otherwise clear skies across the country. Wake up tomorrow, temperatures dropping to around 12 degrees as a minimum temperature for Longwe and Dedza, around 14 over Blantyre, Somba and Mulanje, so too Kasungu. Expect mild conditions over most parts along lakeshore areas, Ngabu and over Nsanje. More sunny skies expected during morning hours, covered with haze. Few clouds might be seen here and there later into the day over some parts of southern areas as well as over central parts of Malawi. Hot conditions are expected later into the afternoon hours tomorrow over Ngabu and Nsanje, clocking a maximum temperature of 31 degrees, around 29 over Mangochi and over Kalonga. Otherwise, warm conditions over most areas in the southern, central and over the north. More sunny skies later in the afternoon tomorrow, but clouds start developing over some parts of southern areas, coupled with windy conditions as well as some parts of central and over the north. As we look further into Saturday, we should expect windy conditions to persist over most areas with mere winds over the lake, isolated rains as well as wind drizzles over some parts of southern areas and central parts of Malawi. Well, that's it for tonight. Good night.
And the weather report brings us to the end of this bulletin, but before I sign out, here is a recap of the top stories. Pope Leo XIV encourages religious communities to strengthen unity and witness. Government legislators agree to review Political Parties Act regulations before amending law. Government says safely managed water access remains low, with rural areas at 4.4% against 33% in urban areas. In international news, Africa urged to increase health funding amid rising disease threats. We have come to the end of the bulletin. As we continue to navigate the opportunities and challenges of our time, may we remain committed to truth, hope, and service to one another. In the words of today's gospel, blessed are your eyes because they see and your ears because they hear, reminding us to recognize God's presence in our daily lives and respond with faith and compassion. Thank you for choosing Luntha Television. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Kathy Matura. Good night and may God bless.